see, petting the dog is one of the most relaxing things you can possibly do. It releases a hormone called oxytocin, which reduces stress.
I told you guys I would cover Nausicaa. I keep all my promises. I'm gonna be honest, guys, I read the Nausicaa manga like 4 months ago, so I don't remember much of it. I also watched the film like months ago. All I remember is cool machines, which is the important part. Anyways, nobody gives a fuck about all that sissy pacifist humans are evil weapons of mass destruction shit. We have tanks that look like they're straight out of Metal Slug again. Actually, that's a lie. I reread and rewatched the movie because my current memory was not sufficient. And thank God I did, because I have a lot more I want to say now. Alright, so the movie starts with this gorgeous introduction to the toxic jungle and the damage it has wreaked across the land. I prefer the name it has in the manga, which is the Sea of Corruption. Much prettier. We see a lot of dead people, which means nothing to us. However, compared to openings of other Ghibli movies, it definitely is quite different. Fast forward a little bit and now we have Nausicaa doing stuff. She's collecting material for her kingdom, as well as researching the strange fungi, trying to find the nastiest sativa strain out there. That shit that's more like straight fox squirrel piss. Well, more importantly, she finds a big dead bug called an yooooo, as in, oh my god, it's a bug, ha ha ha. More important things happen outside, and Nausicaa gives chase on her pretty cool glider. It's pretty cool, I guess. She drops pacifist bombs full of love and good intentions, which is able to neutralize the yooooo, which have red eyes for when they're mad and blue eyes for when they're happy. Like, this is some fucking baby world where everything needs to be explained to us. The man she saves turned out to be her mentor, Lord Yupa, the strongest swordsman in the world. He comes in riding what likely inspired the Final Fantasy chocobos, because there is no such thing as an original idea. These guys are pretty cool. They look like the death birds of prehistoric times. In general, I like birds. When I grow up, I'm gonna make a manga about birds. The main character will be a peregrine falcon. So yeah, they have a nice exchange where Nausicaa showed off her position as CEO of PETA by letting that thing manhandle her and show her who's boss. Realistically speaking, the squirrel probably now thinks she's its pet, albeit Nausicaa also thinks the same. Anyways, they return to the Valley of the Wind, the small kingdom Nausicaa is the princess of. Many people consider Nausicaa to be one of, if not Miyazaki's best work. With 5 whole movies under my belt, I will say this is my favorite Ghibli movie so far. It's a very, very well made movie with great acting, visuals, music, and so on and so forth. But beyond that, I feel very little about it, funnily enough. The things people say about it are also pretty funny. Reminder that all anime are problematic and bad, and you're better off only ever watching paint dry. Every aspect about this movie's writing is better done somewhere else. The beautiful thing about this masterpiece movie that is part of the anime canon is that, like many of its contemporaries, it has a manga that is better. Ha ha ha. So in the manga, there's a few amount of important differences in the beginning. Most of the scenes in the manga are in the anime, but with different contexts. Some minor changes and some large changes. The biggest difference is that the lore of the manga is much grander, and it begins to build up very early on, but it's almost entirely gone in the film. Another thing is that the Torumekians don't fuck up the valley like a bunch of savages. They land normally, but they do so in the middle of the field, so Nausicaa still gets mad and attacks. The manga isn't necessarily different in that it has completely different events, it's just 10 times more expansive. The movie essentially truncates Kushana's arc with a healthy amount of butchering, and it makes the ending of Volume 2 more important, making that the end of the movie, instead of going deep into the Hyperborean megalore that the manga builds up to. The world of Nausicaa is way more fleshed out here. We learn about more factions and see a lot of the different leaders, the forest people, the holy emperors, the worm handlers. None of these make an appearance in the movie, which is quite sad. This takes quite the hit on some characters, especially Kushana. She was my favorite character in the manga, and her role in the anime is smaller, to say the least, which sucks, but cause that also affects my second favorite character, Kurotawa. But hey, at least we get to see her whimpering and scared of bugs. This is not a thing in the manga, by the way. Kushana can be a bit evil in the manga, but much less in the film. She's a major character with a lot of screen time who acts more like a foil to Nausicaa. Unlike her liberal sissy Europort counterpart, Kushana is more interested in taking control of her empire and surviving the circumstances of her evil bros, to then make some glorious Roman Empire type shit that will save the country, or at the very least just get rid of her evil family members. It's cool though, cause in the film she's voiced by Uma Thurman, and yes, that means I watched it in dub because I could not be bothered to find an anime site that had the high quality version, so I just rented it on YouTube, which gave me a lot of strong opinions since the dub was fucking amazing and reminded me of what we used to have before the dubbing industry began to rot. Alas, that's a topic for another day. Anyways, in the anime, the big event is the Omu wave, which is made to wipe out like all of humanity. In the manga, this is just like an attack on a Pegite city that is being held by the Tormekians. The Empire is the big bad as it immediately comes to subjugate the Valley of the Wind. They're like, we don't need to kill you, we just want to unite all the lands, but they immediately kill the king for like no reason. Like that dude's already crippled and they make no real attempt to like keep it hidden. It's like really stupid. My man Miyazaki did not know how to translate this part of the manga. Kushana finds the God Rover and decides to take it, but unfortunately she can't because it's somehow too heavy for her ships, which is funny because the manga says otherwise. Nausicaa is forced to come with Kushana to God knows where, I forgot, but on their way there they get attacked by the fucking ghost of Pegite. That or these ships are made out of fucking Legos. They literally just crumble in the face of these strange purple bullets, and the whole fleet gets wiped out while Kushana just sits there acting stoic. The barge holding the Valley of the Wind people survives, and Nausicaa takes the Valley gunship, an important item in the manga, as it's implied that it's really powerful, I think. I gotta say that having your missile launcher built into your plane from the front can't be gun engineering, but shit, what do I know? I got an F in my high school physics class. Nausicaa uses her PETA granted mind control and makes her first decree. To pacify Asbel, the pilot, and they all fall down into the forest. In the world of Nausicaa, the mushrooms are accompanied by groovy synths, and so we all do a little dancey dance as we fall. The bugs are angry that they're being interrupted by these dumbasses, so they start attacking. Kushana makes a very pathetic showing of herself, very annoying since she's much more of a hard-ass in the manga, and has to leave it to Nausicaa to fix everything. That everything being Nausicaa passing out and falling through quicksand. By the way, the Omus are not aquatic in the manga. This is just blatant agenda pushing by the film to make them stronger. Asbel and Nausicaa fall into a strange place made of sand and rock and soon realize that the truths of the forest, that the world, having been polluted by what are essentially nukes, are now being cleansed by the forest to be made into sand. I don't know how that'll work in the long run, but Nausicaa thinks that's the way to go, so, you know. Nausicaa's second decree is to leave nature alone because it will naturally correct itself. She says nature will naturally purify everything by turning the chemicals to sand. Naturally. After escaping the sand dunes, somehow they make their way to Pegite to check on it. After seeing the remains of their city, and they run into the brilliant military leaders and that were left over, they reveal their plan of unleashing the swarm on everyone, and Nausicaa is not happy. Back home, our glorious ruler Kurotawa is letting shit go to hell since the spores brought by the Tormekian ships are not being friendly with the plans of the valley. Everybody revolts, and in good resistance fashion, a tank is stolen and single-handedly changes the course of the battle. At some point we get this very cute flashback of Nausicaa trying to protect this baby Omu from everyone. It's a very sad scene, so though the voice actors do a good job of portraying how a child would react to that. It's very reminiscent of stories in farms where the kid tried to prevent its favorite chicken from becoming McNuggets. One has to wonder though that this Omu probably can't survive on its own and is low-key being held hostage by Nausicaa. Very on brand for her brand. The people of Pegite turn out to be Tesla-loving vegans too, so they free Nausicaa and she goes to try and stop the stampede. She finds out that they're using the mangled body of a live baby Omu to lure the stampede, and enraged that it wasn't her that did it, Nausicaa goes on the offensive. She hits the nastiest dive bomb into the ship and steers it out of control. Now on land, she works quick to calm down the baby that wants to kill itself. Kids hurting themselves when they're angry is present in all species, it seems. Eventually, the baby realizes, and so it begins to calm down and help Nausicaa. The big Omus don't give a fuck though. They really don't care because all of this shit pissed them off, I can't lie. And like that, and like they just keep moving forward until all their enemies are gone. And so we get to the final act of the movie. There's a mini war going on centered around this big leftover machine that's basically impenetrable. So it seems. The valley hides there while fighting off the Tormekians. Kushana is like, I'm gonna wait for Nausicaa to come back. Heh, if she's strong enough to survive the forest, then I'll have a conversation with her. But the second she hears a hint of Nausicaa being alive, she does not want to smoke. She's like, fuck this, and then brings out the nuclear bomb cyborg man-made horror. The giant warrior, or the better name in the manga, the God Warriors. Appearance is quite small. It's basically a teaser for the manga where it lives up to its name. He shoots out like 2 nice little loads and then just fucking dies. The Omu keep going cause that weak shit didn't phase until Nausicaa grabs the baby and stands in front of them to play a game of chicken that she loses horribly. But the Omu regret what they did That shit was recorded, everybody licensed his play was caught and everything, so they got out and apologized by using the magical healing blood. It's a cool twist that the golden field laid out by the prophecy is actually Omu tendrils. Nausicaa is revealed to be the hero, and after everything is all well and good, she takes control, enforces PETA as the ruling party, and changes the whole world. Final decree: everybody have fun. The manga is pretty cool. It has this European look to it with the bigger pages and shading style. I thought I was crazy for thinking this, but it was confirmed in some interviews that that's what Miyazaki was going for. So much for anti-Western sentiment, am I right, guys? So as mentioned before, the manga is way more grand, and immediately it's made clear by the scenario. The Empire is actually an ally of the Valley, and Nausicaa is summoned to fight with them against the Dorok principalities instead of her ailing father, who, mind you, doesn't die a stupid death in the manga, instead living for a couple volumes before dying to the stone disease that gets brought up like twice. Funnily enough, Nausicaa goes even harder on these people despite them being more respectful, because she actually kills the knight in the duel. But anyways, the real reason behind this fight is just that Kushana has been tasked to retrieve the plot MacGuffin, which is the NVIDIA 1980 graphics card needed to make the God Warrior work. Pejai is the one who has it. The Tomakian ship holding Azu's sister hostage was actually a refugee ship. These guys aren't stupid and getting blocked out by a little swarm this time. They're getting royally fucked over and crashed for a real reason. This is aviation in Geo's Valley. Nausicaa gets a stone, and then the real story starts of going on this big ass journey with millions of twists. That sissy clone known as anime Nausicaa is nothing compared to manga Nausicaa. Nausicaa goes from, guys, we should respect nature, to, guys, nature should run its course, to, we can just do whatever we want and we should have faith in humanity. Pretty cool stuff. Going through the whole manga sounds like a chore when I already so beautifully summarized the film. Let me know if y'all want more about it. There's only like 2 things I mainly want to talk about manga about, that being Kushana and the world building, aka ending. So in the manga, Kushana is like badass as fuck, okay? In the anime, there's this agenda to make the bug stronger and Kushana weaker, and I won't stand for it. She's a hard ass trying to fight off her evil brothers, especially the eldest one who, whoopsies, just dies. And then she goes through this whole process of like, damn, that was all for something so small. It's a great moment as everyone is going through fucking Flymageddon, and she's just finally at peace for once. She is a lot more similar to Nausicaa in the sense that they are both working very hard for their ideals in spite of the odds presented to them as little ladies. In fact, she looks eerily similar to Nausicaa in the manga, especially without the color to separate them. There's also another important scene that was omitted where Kushana is talking with her mom. It's never explained what happened to her, but we can see that she is off some bad cushion alcohol. She clings to a doll, thinking that it's Kushana, while actually acting hostile to the real Kushana. I like this scene a lot because the manga in general makes Kushana a very sympathetic character in spite of her very controlling demeanor. Her dynamic with Nausicaa is also a better version of the movie because she isn't being weird at the end. Kushana is supposed to be this archetypical, conniving, imperial figure who has gone through a lot and is trying to usurp her more evil family. But a lot of the manga is her being thrown into these powerless situations, and thanks to her upbringing, she's able to grow from these situations and come to better understand Nausicaa. Pretty cool. The ending has her just serve as the regent but not the actual emperor, but there is no emperor, so she just makes this dumbass society. It works, I guess. Speaking of the ending. So the point of Nausicaa movie is to heed nature and put some respect on the bugs' names, but in the manga they're like, yeah, that shit is fake because the environment we're in is bioengineered by humans of the past, made specifically to reverse the pollution of the radioactive children. That pollution being the sheer aura displayed by the God Warriors. Just their name makes people get cancer. They decided to hole up in this indestructible but alive temple until the emperor comes and is like, guys, can we talk? And it works. But then Nausicaa talks even harder and BTFO, their weird shitty book god they have. This is what happens in a society with ChatGPT. As it turns out, after 100 years ignoring the contextual differences of the previous and new world, the people of the crypt continue to heed the words of this god and only ever enhance the suffering of the world. Also because they're lying. Kinda like. The whole last and climactic sequence is pretty cool. We get more details about the God Warriors and how they're sociopathic little kid murderers who then become these wise arbiters of justice. Some programming, am I right? They got cool wings and they can do their I'm a firing my laser. So all in all, it's a great creature design. As a matter of fact, all the creature designs are good. Insects being animated in a similar way to mechanical things really show how similar they are at times. I also wonder what that could mean. There's this big thing of artificial gods like the Master of the Tomb and the God Warriors. Artificial versus natural is the big debate of the final volume, and Nausicaa finds herself in the middle. Life finds a way, though, it seems, since humans and bugs have managed to exist alongside the sea of corruption, with Nausicaa uncovering the means to make those plants pure. She says fuck you to their god, and then goes on to fix the world in a way that is unrecordable by history, I guess. Awesome ending. Great film and a great manga. The movie is like an 8 and the manga is a 9 all in all. Sad that Miyazaki seemed to have peaked so early, but maybe there's still hope. See y'all later.